Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on which part of the world you're watching from. Yes, we're back. Apology for the 30-minute delay to the stream, but hey, these things happen. It is the weekend after all. We're all busy. I hope you're all enjoying this Sunday, whether you're just starting it or whether it's in progress or whether it's heading towards its end, as it is for me right here. It's a very chill Sunday. Today was one of those moody Sundays over here, where the clouds were calmly sitting over the sky. We had some light rain towards the evening. Hello there, V Anifanti. And now we're settled in for the night. It's starting to get darker earlier and earlier, you know? Here in Australia, as we get into January and February, and we slowly, hey there, Corn, how you going? Welcome in. And you slowly start to creep in towards the autumn or fall months, call it what you want. It's starting to get late, or it's starting to get dark earlier and earlier. Cat fact. Oh, yes, you have that, don't you? Corn playing around with the cat facts in chat. But yes, there is one thing that occurred yesterday, and I feel like I didn't give it the attention that it deserved. Plus, there were some posts earlier today that came out on social media, which I would like to take a look at before we jump into the game, which for today, it is Viewfinder. We're not playing Pokemon today. We're going back to Pokemon next Wednesday, which I think will be the last Pokemon stream. We'll see how we go. It could be a late night stream on Wednesday. Just want to prepare you for that. But yeah, for now, as I said, I want to bring our attention to some posts that were made yesterday and share some of my own personal stories regarding the anniversary of a specific game. I won't tell you which one it is. I'll let you guess. But yeah, we'll discuss all that and then we'll jump into the game. Today's stream might be a little bit shorter. Short but sweet. People saying hello to other people in the chat. That's what you want to see. And as our intro song comes to an end, we will switch over to our PC screen. Oh, this is closed. Hi, everyone. Now you can see me too. All right. Let me just have a drink. And yeah. So this is what I wanted to discuss. Yeah, of course, everyone knows that January 31st and not February 1st. January 31st was the 29th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII. And, well, of course, the official Final Fantasy VII page on social media, whether it's Twitter/X, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, they made a few posts, and I just wanted to check them out with the rest of the internet. Okay, so the first one says, well, actually, this is the last one, so let's go back and take them by time. So this one says, in a city shimmering with Marco's glow, a battle begins to protect the life of the planet. Final Fantasy turns 29 years old today. Happy Final Fantasy VII Day. Well, of course, this goes for yesterday, but yeah, cool image. You can see in the photo here, they've got all the different. They've got the city of they've got Midgar right in the middle here, and they've got all the different scenes from the original game right across the top and the bottom. So this is Cosmic Canyon, Forest of the Ancients, the first reactor, the first mission, The tower in Nibelheim where Chibi Cloud and Chibi Tifa made the promise. This is a desert prison where Barrett talks about his past. This is when the tiny Bronco crashed in the ocean. This is where you met Vincent in the Shinra Manor in Nibelheim. This is Sephiroth going crazy in the Nibelheim reactor. This is the Temple of the Ancients, where Kate Sith gets ready to sacrifice himself for the rest of the group. And this is where you randomly meet Yuffie, somewhere in Junon, I think. So yeah, it's very nice how they've spread all the scenes out across the one image. Nice use of Canva, by the way. Or Adobe Photoshop, I don't know. But yeah, this post was really nice and really special. And after that, we also got a message celebrating, this is a second post, celebrating 29 years of Final Fantasy VII with early concept art and a special message from creative director Tetsuya Nomura. So this isn't Hamaguchi and it isn't Kitase, it's Nomura, who very rarely comes out to talk. So we've got the image here. You can see this very early concept art. This is Cloud down here. Can you see my mouse? This here is Cloud. This guy up here is a guy that was supposed to be known as Needle Johnny. Has nothing to do with the Johnny guy that appeared in the game. I don't know who this is. We have no idea who this is. And this is early concept art of Midgar, of what they wanted Midgar to look like. You can see the tower in the background. So it was a little bit like England. They wanted to give it that English vibe, that kind of not modern, but maybe not sort of, Dungeons and Dragons England. So it was like should I call it postmodern? I don't know what era, but it was a little bit before, like a Hogwarts era England. Think Hogwarts and Harry Potter and all that. So you can see the towers back here and all that. But eventually the project evolved and it became what it is today. So here's the message from Nomura. Let's read it. This year marks the 29th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII, so next year looks set to be an even more special occasion. Mark those words. Now, in celebration of this 29th anniversary, I sought out some past concept art and comments to share. However, much of it has already been published in various forms, and I couldn't find anything truly new. Yeah, that makes sense. Therefore, I shall repost some very early concept art that was quite released once before, though without any particular commentary at the time. Note that when it was published previously, the explanation on the right-hand side was omitted, so this is effectively its first full public appearance. This was drawn during the very earliest plot stages of Final Fantasy VII. In the foreground is an early design of Cloud, while the figure aiming a gun on the elevated platform is Johnny the Needle, a character from the initial plot. The guy I told you, like this guy up here, he's aiming a gun. His name is Johnny Needle. He is entirely distinct from the Johnny who appears in the main story. Johnny the Needle's elements were later incorporated into Reno from the Turks. On the left staircase, there's a character reminiscent of Avalanche, who was still unnamed and without a defined role at this stage. Furthermore, unlike previous Final Fantasy titles, this envisioned combat not on fixed battlefields, but whilst moving through the city's three-dimensional environment. Ultimately, this form of combat wasn't realized in the original, but has been achieved in the ongoing FF VII Remake series. In that sense, I'd be delighted if you could continue enjoying this grand project where elements technically unachievable in the original are now being realized in the remake series. I didn't press like. Oh, I did press like. So yeah, you can see how all these things sort of came to life. We never got to see that dragon, unfortunately. We haven't fought that dragon just yet. Hopefully it appears in part 3. I don't know. It's a two-headed dragon. Anyway, maybe that's why he shoved it in there. But the main takeaway from me is this next year looks set to be an even more special occasion phrase. And I think it connects to everything we've been speculating that FF7 could be coming out within exactly 1 year. Like, we're all assuming, a lot of people within the community are assuming that next year at this time, we might even be playing the third and final part to this trilogy, the remake trilogy. Now, who else? Naoki Hamaguchi, the game's director, also had something to say. If I could find him. Is this it? No, this isn't it. Hamaguchi? Interesting. Just when you need it the most, you can't find it. Wait, it is Hamaguchi, isn't it? Uh, Interesting. I can't find him. uh, that's interesting. I thought I had him. I thought I followed him. Followed by. All right, let's see. We should be able to find it here. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be just looking for it. Shinji Hashimoto. No. Where is it? Where is it? His profile should be here. Shitaka Suzuki. Here it is. Here he is. Okay. So, no, this is about Rebirth. This is something else. Oh, yeah. So, Naoki Hamaguchi, the director of the trilogy, says, Happy birthday, FF VII. This year we'll be giving it our all to bring you the full charm and excitement of Final Fantasy VII. So he doesn't go into specifics saying that we'll be bringing you the third and final piece of the franchise or the trilogy or whatever. No, he says the full charm. So to me, that says we're going to give it our all to give you all of it, to give you the entire experience, the entire FF7 experience. So to me, that goes into things like Ever Crisis, where they've already done Crisis Core. Ever Crisis is the mobile game, right? The mobile game for Final Fantasy VII. And it goes into episodes. So they've already done the Crisis Core episode. Now they're doing the Dirge of Cerberus episode, which, if you don't know what Dirge of Cerberus is, it's a game focused on Vincent and his personal history in the FF7 world. So I don't know what else we might see. We might see Rebirth released on the Switch too and Xbox platforms. That's also something else we're expecting. But yeah, this tweet says a lot. All right, that's pretty much all I wanted to share. I just wanted to share a little message about, like, we talk about FF7 a lot, right? And you know that for me, FF7 is a huge game and it's a big thing, not just because we're going to get the third game or not just because of all the hype or anything like that. But to me, FF7 was, I played FF7 before I got into video games. I mean, sorry, I played video games before I got into FF7. I meant to say that the other way around. But the thing is, FF7 sort of helped me realize how games can talk, because before then, like, realistically, the only games I played were Super Mario games. Like, I played Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World, Super Mario Brothers All-Stars on the... I had a Super NES or Super Famicom, whatever you want to call it. And that's literally all I played. Like, I never played any Zelda or Chrono Trigger or any other type of game, because when it came to video games, I was a little bit like narrow-minded, and I didn't think there was anything else out there or anything else that would interest me. I had that one interest in the Mario games, and I was like, well, that's it. I don't think there'd be anything else that I would like to try. I was especially young at the time, and I had my little safe space with the Mario games, you know? And then Super Mario 64 hit on the Nintendo 64, and I didn't like it. I didn't like that you could go all over the place. That felt a little bit alien to me. Felt a little bit strange, and that's why I didn't like the direction that the Mario franchise had taken. I also didn't like for some reason, I didn't like the shape of the N64. It felt too big, too bulky, and too different compared to the classic Super NES, where it was lean. It was just, you know, one-sided. It was just a plain little thing, you know, very plain compared to the N64, at least in my eyes. So at that time, I wasn't really looking into any other video games. I was just going along with my life, and it was interesting because at that period of time, my best friend in elementary school, he changed classes. He moved away. And I met this other kid. I don't ask how I met him. It's not a nice story, but because it involves fighting and all that. But the thing is, one day this kid was very open and he was very, like, friendly, and he, you know, one day he invited me over to his house after school. Back then, kids were very open and things were very different compared to today. Like, you could go out you could be missing for hours from your home, and your parents wouldn't even call you. They wouldn't even care where you are, just as long as you're alive. That was good enough for them. So we would do a lot of different things after school. We'd go play soccer. We'd go exploring different things. We'd go hiking. We would do many different things back at those days. And one day he just said to me, "You want to come over to my house? I have this awesome new video game and you should check it out." And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So anyway, in we go, and he brings out his PlayStation. I remember I wasn't really keen on getting a PlayStation either, because I had seen some games and they were mostly like Tomb Raider or Resident Evil, things like that, things that I wasn't too interested in. I think actually my parents did buy me a PlayStation, but the smaller version of the PlayStation, which was called the PS1, it was white, right? Hang on, I think we can see it here, PS1. It's this. It was this little thing. It also came with a screen, but you had to buy the screen separately. So anyway, yeah, I had this. They bought me this little thing, and for some reason they bought me Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which was a horror game, and I've never liked horror games, but especially that one. It also included a lot of jump scares. If you've played it, you know what I mean. So Nemesis was in it. He'd pop in every 10 seconds. You couldn't move without Nemesis hunting you down throughout that police station. And it just freaked me out. So that's why I didn't enjoy the game. I didn't enjoy the console. I put it to the side. But then we went to my friend from elementary school. He invited me over to his house. And he says to me, "Check out this game." So I saw that game. I remember seeing him play Final Fantasy VII and these characters and that battle system. I didn't get into it much at first, but then we kept going back to his house because he was kind of bossy. He was kind of bossy, that friend of mine, and he was like, "Okay, we're all friends, but what I say goes," like how every group has a leader, right? Who everyone else follows. I was a bit of a follower back then. So we kept going back to his house, and his parents had no issue that we were there. They were very open because they liked the fact that their son had friends and they knew who he was with, and they liked me as well. They thought I was a nice boy or whatever. So yeah, we kept going back. He kept wanting to show me more and more of this game, and I slowly got I got into it. I couldn't even help it, I didn't really have a choice. So I started getting more and more involved with it. Initially, to be honest, I may not have even liked it. It's ironic. I don't think I was too keen on it at first. I saw it once or twice, and then I started seeing more and more of it. And then I remember I started asking him questions like, "So did you find Sephiroth, or did you get any more cool materia or stuff like that?" Or sometimes he'd come to school very excited to tell me, "You have to see what happened in this game. You have to come over after school." So we'd go over and I'd be like, "Okay, cool, show me." And he had a save file just before any sort of big event or big movie. And I remember seeing some of those movies and being like, "Oh my God, what is happening?" Like, especially the one with the weapons, and, when Cloud gives the black materia to Sephiroth in the northern crater, and then the weapons start showing up. And I'm like, "Oh my God, what am I watching?" I was like, "Is this a video game or is it real life?" Because back then, those graphics were incredibly advanced. Like, you look at them now and you're like, "Oh, what is this silly little bits and bobs that I'm seeing moving on the screen?" But back then, you have to understand, that seemed incredibly advanced for us who were used to seeing Mario and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, I got more and more into it, and at some point, I still hadn't played it. I wanted to experience the whole thing for myself. Because after that, Final Fantasy 8 and 9 came out. I experienced 8 the same way because he got that as well, and another friend in our group got it as well. He got it on PC, so they were talking about it all the time. I couldn't play it. I had a PC that couldn't handle it, so I didn't really get the full Final Fantasy 8 experience. Then Final Fantasy 9 came out, but I had never really played Final Fantasy 7 from start to finish. So what happened is, that friend from elementary school, his brother, told me that, like, "If you give me your Game Boy, I'll give you FF VII." And I had an original Game Boy, and we did the trade, which today I think it wasn't that fair of a trade, but I really wanted to have FF VII. That's how badly I wanted it. And I said to him, you know what? Take it. I don't even care. I wasn't using the Game Boy. I had another Game Boy. I had a Game Boy Color back then. So, of course, right now, you can't find a Game Boy anywhere, and it probably costs $50,000 on eBay, right? But back then, it was nothing to find a Game Boy. You could just pop down to the store and can get one for like $100. So anyway, and then I got it, and I remember because the PS1 was incredibly small and portable, and you could take it anywhere. My mother wanted to take a trip somewhere. She wanted to take a vacation. She wanted to go on a vacation with one of her friends and her son, who I was friends with. So we would go. So we went, and I took the PlayStation with me, and every night when we would come home from the daily excursions or daily trips or whatever, I'd put Final Fantasy in the PlayStation. I'd sit there playing for like 5-6 hours. I did not get any sleep at all on this vacation. And then I took it back home with me, and I continued playing from there. And I think there must be a save file somewhere with about 200 hours of me hunting down weapons and trying to kill Sephiroth. It's interesting. I was never able to kill Sephiroth initially because he was OP. That was a very difficult boss fight, final boss fight. Especially getting to Safer Sephiroth, it felt like you had exhausted all your resources. I had run out of MP, I had run out of items, I had run out of literally everything, and he was just hitting me with everything, with what was he's attacking, the supernova, with everything. And I was just like, what do I do to beat him? At some point I gave up. Then I found out about Knights of the Round. That took me on a whole other side quest with the whole Chocobo breeding thing. So I got the materia, the Knights of the Round materia, and I beat Sephiroth. I don't know, it must have been years later. I must have been in high school when I finally beat Sephiroth. I never got to beat all the weapons. In fact, I'm ashamed to admit that other than Ultima weapon, I have not defeated Ruby or Sapphire. So, yeah. Can I even call myself a gamer? But anyway, those are all my experiences from Final Fantasy VII. Looking back, now we're looking to the future with Hamaguchi's message and Nomura's message. And hopefully next year we'll be here playing the third and final game of this trilogy and having a great time. And that's the message I wanted to share about my memories of this game and how I got into it and what made me become such a huge fan. You know, later on down the line, Dirge of Cerberus came out, and when I saw it at my local, that's how I found it. I had this local video club or video store, whatever you call it, like a what do you call those in America? Anyway, those old stores in America. And you know, I was just randomly browsing through the video game section, and I was like, what should I rent? What should I rent? And then my eye fell on Dirge of Cerberus. Like, they had it there waiting. And I was like, wait, hang on. There's a new Final Fantasy VII game? And I looked on the back, and, you know, they had Vincent and Cloud and all of them. And I'm like, this thing is real? I can check out what they're doing in, like, high-definition graphics? So that's when I got it. I'm not going to lie, it felt very different to me compared to FF VII. And admittedly, that felt disappointing because I thought, oh, cool, I'm going to get to use materia and all that. Well, yes, you do get to use some materia, but not in the way you imagine, not in the old way, you know? So it did feel a bit disappointing, but once I got into it, I liked it as a game. I liked what it had to offer and what it proposed for the game, like how it smashed together the shooter and the RPG elements. Back then, that was unique. That was very interesting. Like, no other game did that. And I like the story, and I like the fact that we got to see a little bit of Cloud, a little bit of Tifa, a little bit of Barrett, all of them coming back. Plus, it made me get a different appreciation for the character of Vincent, who, for me, now remains one of the top 5 characters throughout Final Fantasy, like throughout the franchise. What else? And that got me back into the franchise because after 9, admittedly, I dropped it for a while. I stopped playing. You know, other things happen in your life. So I stopped playing video games for a bit. in between the PS1 and PS2 era. And then when I bumped into that thing at the video club, the Dirge of Cerberus at the video club, I played that. Then I played FF 10. Then I played FF 12. Then I found out the movie had been released. I think somewhere in between, I found the Advent Children movie and all that, you know. And damn, I was so hyped to see it. I was so hyped to see it. I wish I could have seen it at the movies, but, you know. And yeah, that's how I got back into it. Fast forward to 2015. Year after year, you know, I would watch the E3 conferences, but where I lived, they took place at 4 o'clock in the morning. So especially the Sony conferences, they were on really late. So I remember, you know, the rumor mill was running like wild. Twitter was on fire back then. And even some Square Enix devs were coming out and they were like, you really need to see this Sony conference. People need to see this and you're not ready for what's coming out. But the rumor mill was on fire about a potential remake of some game. We weren't sure it was going to be FF VII. And then all of a sudden, like we get World of Final Fantasy, right? Which was a cool game in and of itself. But back then we had been trolled to death by Square Enix. You don't understand the level of trolling we had gone through. Like we needed emotional support. If you were a Square Enix fan back then, you needed emotional support. So anyway, they come out, they give us World of Final Fantasy, and everyone's like, not again. I can't keep going through this for this company. I am done. And then I think it was Andrew Hasty. He says, we have one more thing before we finish with Square Enix. And then behind him, you have the green lines, the green wavy lines, which everyone's like, is that the live stream? And we're like, okay, even if it is the live stream, because literally 6 months before that, Shinji Hashimoto came out at a PS4 conference and he says, we're bringing back Final Fantasy VII, the original, just remastered with a bit better graphics. And everyone's like, no. So anyway, we had learned our lesson. No one was confident that they were going to do a remake. Like they were like, this is going to be a movie, or this is going to be a trailer, a 30-minute trailer, or a segment, or something else. Like literally, I kid you not, everyone, and you go back and watch those clips from E3 2015. Literally, no one says it's a game. Everyone's sitting there, and they're trying to hold themselves back from believing that it's actually a remake, because that's how bad we had gotten it back then. So anyway, they're sitting there and they're like, this is not a remake. This is not a remake. We are not getting a remake of the game. No. They have not done it. They haven't done it. We've learned our lesson. No, Square Enix, you're not getting. And then, like, once the trailer's over, once you see Barrett and Cloud moving away from the screen, you see they're backing away from the screen, and then it hits remake. And everyone's like, yes! Like, I was at home. I was watching it at home, as I said. I think it was the Sony conference started at 4 at that time. Must have been close to 5:30 in the morning. And, you know, I was living in an apartment. There were other people sleeping at that time. So I'm just kneeling in front of my big screen TV, because I would always watch the E3 conferences at my big screen TV to see everything as clear as possible. And you just see that remake thing across the screen with big letters. And I remember I just burst into I kid you not, I wish I had taken a video of it, but I didn't think about it. I burst into tears. That's how bad I got it. That's how bad a lot of people got it. Like, I was crying. I was like, I can't believe we're getting this after all these years. It was 20 years. Like, people had literally been asking for a remake of FF VII ever since the PS3 era, at least since the PS3 era, when Square Enix gave us that technical demo before FF 13 was announced. Not even came out, before FF 13 was announced. So yeah, I remember I was just sitting there. I was sitting on my couch, and when they announced it, I kneeled in front of my screen and I just grabbed my face. I grabbed my face like this, and the tears just start rolling down my face. And I can't believe they've done this. Yeah. Hey Slayer, how you going? No Pokemon today. It's not going to be Pokemon. Anyway, yeah, that was the story of the remake and all that. And yeah, I think we should wrap it up here so we can go into the game. But that's just the story of how I got into Final Fantasy, and my relationship and our relationship. I think a lot of people's relationship with the game throughout the years. The new Final Fantasy. Do you like Final Fantasy Slayer? How do you feel about Final Fantasy? Okay, I think we are going to wrap it up here to move on to our game.